Welcome back, everybody. Well, Israel has begun testing long-range ballistic missiles. It's a move that has many asking if Israel plans to launch a preemptive strike against Iran. Rena Nainan joins us from Jerusalem now with more.
Israel is preparing for a possible attack on Iran. Drills like this one now happen on a regular basis. Evacuations, checking for radiation, and then defending the home front. This week, the Israeli military tested this long-range ballistic missile, the Jericho-3, a three-stage solid-fuel missile with roughly a 4,000-mile range, capable of striking Iran. Sources close to senior Israeli cabinet officials tell Fox News senior ministers who opposed a strike are now for it. They believe sanctions won't be tough enough on Iran. They say this Israeli attack from 1981 of Iraq's nuclear facility in Ozark is another compelling reason to strike. The Reagan administration was against the attack, but later acknowledged it was the right thing to do, and Iraq never rebuilt it. But other analysts warn the situation 20 years ago in Iraq is not like the current situation in Iran, where nuclear facilities are spread out, harder to penetrate, and the technology more advanced. The White House message is this.
It was loud and clear. Don't attack. You have to do everything with us and not against us. There's no green or yellow light from the Americans. There's a red light from the Obama administration.
Tehran has warned any Israeli strike would be met with harsh retaliation. At this anti-U.S. Iranian rally in Tehran on Friday, posters of President Obama with the headline, "Wanted, Dead or Alive." Israeli officials say that the timing of an attack, whether to do it before U.S. elections or after, is still uncertain. But what we do know, 80% of Israelis polled this week believe that a strike on Iran would mean a multi-front war being launched by Iran's proxies, with Hezbollah in Lebanon in the north and Hamas in the south. In Jerusalem, Rena Nainan, Fox News.
Rena, thank you. Well, there are reports Netanyahu is pressuring his cabinet to support possible actions against Iran. Joining us now live from Tel Aviv is Israel's Deputy Knesset Speaker, Danny Danon. Welcome, sir. Nice to have you here.
Thank you, Uma. It's great being on your show.
Thank you. Israeli officials are not confirming or denying if the Prime Minister is pushing for actions against a uranium enrichment plant, which is considered Iran's key site for nuclear fuel production. Can you go on the record now to give us any insight if this is indeed on the table?
We are not going into detail, but we do say that all options are on the table. But we do ask the international community, and especially the White House, to engage in the risk of Iran. It is not a threat only for Israelis. It is not a threat only for Jews. It's a threat for American people. We saw the pictures only for 2 days ago when the Iranians celebrated. They have a very unique way to celebrate the day they took over the American embassy. They were burning the American flags and the Israeli flags. If Iran will become nuclear, it will be a threat to every single American. That's what we are trying to push in the White House. And we believe that the sanctions that we are seeing today are not enough. They are not really crippling sanctions. When I say crippling sanctions, I mean that there will be no banking with Iranian. I mean that there will be no refinery of the oil that is being produced in Iran. And even symbolic things, Uma. For example, there is a daily flight from Tehran to Washington every day. You have to put really crippling sanctions if you want that somebody will hear you in Iran. Otherwise, we will get to the point of no return, that somebody will have to take military action. I think it should be the international community. But if there will be no choice, it will be Israel.
Well, let me ask you this then. Tensions are even higher, as most people know, between Israel and Tehran at the moment. Is it your sense that there's no reason to think that Iran will back off its efforts to boost its nuclear ambitions?
I think it depends a lot on the international community. I see many leaders, mainly in Europe, they come and they condemn Iran. And in a few days, I can tell you, you will read the report. You will see that there will be military activities in the nuclear reactors. It's not as civilian reactors. And I think we will hear a lot of declarations. But if the Iranians will feel it, that there are real sanctions, that the Iranian people will feel the sanctions, maybe they will back up. What's happening today, they hear a lot of talks, a lot of speeches, but they're keeping going with the building the reactors. And when they get to the point where they will have the bomb, then we will not be able to attack, and the U.S. will not be able to do anything. We will be captured in the hands of Ahmadinejad with a very dangerous leader. History has taught us that when you have a leader who is threatening to kill the Jewish people, we better listen to him and not ignore him.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for joining us with your insights. Obviously, there's a lot at stake, and of course, we're going to be following it. We appreciate you joining us today.